There's a place in the Caribbean where reality bends a little, where lakes bubble with black tar, the sea glows in neon blue, and birds paint the sky crimson at sunset. A place where history, nature, and rhythm collide to create something so rare. It feels almost mythical. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, two islands that together form one of the most fascinating nations on Earth. When most people hear those names, they picture carnival parades, steel drums, or beaches kissed by turquoise waves. But what few realize is that beneath those postcard-perfect images lies a world bursting with secrets. Stories so wild, they sound too unbelievable to be true. Yet every one of them is real. So get comfortable, because today we're diving deep into the extraordinary 50 wild facts about Trinidad and Tobago that seem fake, but aren't. Let's start with a truth that surprises even seasoned travelers. Trinidad and Tobago isn't just about beaches and festivals. It's the most industrialized nation in the entire Caribbean. While others rely heavily on tourism, this small country fuels the region's economy through oil, natural gas, and energy exports. Hidden beneath its palm trees lies an engine of global trade, a nation whose factories and refineries help power entire continents. It's a reminder that the Caribbean is not just a place of beauty, but of brilliance and backbone. And then there's the place where the earth itself seems alive, the pitch lake of Trinidad. Imagine a lake that doesn't shimmer blue, but bubbles black. Spread across more than 100 acres, it's the largest natural deposit of asphalt on the planet. Locals walk across its surface as if treading on warm rubber, while scientists from NASA once studied it to understand the surface of Saturn's moon, Titan. Standing there feels like touching another world, a rare place where geology, heat, and history melt into one. But Trinidad's mysteries go even deeper. Long ago, these islands were physically connected to South America. That ancient link means Trinidad shares much of its wildlife with the Venezuelan rainforest, from howler monkeys echoing through the trees to stealthy ocelots roaming at dusk. It's a land that feels both Caribbean and Amazonian, where tropical forests hum with life that belongs to two continents at once. Now let's sail east to Tobago, the smaller yet no less legendary sister island. If the name sounds familiar, it should. It's said to have inspired the setting for Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, the classic novel about a man stranded on a deserted island. And when you see Tobago's lush hills, hidden coves, and pristine beaches, it's easy to understand why. This is paradise the way explorers once dreamed it, untamed, radiant, and alive. Trinidad, on the other hand, has a secret rhythm that flows through its rivers, all 365 of them. Yes, you heard that right. There's a river for every single day of the year. Locals love to say that you could swim in a new one every day and never repeat. It's nature's way of keeping the island constantly refreshed, constantly reborn. But nothing embodies Trinidad's creativity quite like the sound of the steel pan. Invented here in the 20th century, it remains the world's only acoustic instrument created in modern times. Born from discarded oil drums, it became a symbol of defiance and joy, proof that art can rise from the ashes of hardship. Today, the steel pan echoes across continents, from New York to Tokyo, as the heartbeat of Caribbean music. And then comes Carnival, the crown jewel of Trinidadian culture. A spectacle so vibrant, so full of energy, that it rivals Rio de Janeiro's in scale and splendor. For 2 dazzling days, the streets transform into oceans of feathers, sequins, and sound. Thousands dance in rhythmic unison, fueled by soca and calypso beats that make even the shyest visitor sway. But beneath the color lies history. Carnival was born from rebellion, from the days when enslaved Africans disguised protest as celebration. What we see today is freedom turned into art, resistance turned into joy. Across the water in Tobago lies another treasure of global importance, the Main Ridge Forest Reserve. Established in 1776, it's the oldest legally protected rainforest in the Western Hemisphere. To put that into perspective, It was protected the same year the United States declared independence. Walking beneath its towering trees feels like stepping back into prehistory, where every leaf drips with life and every path hums with mystery. Despite its modest size, this little nation has captured global beauty titles twice. Trinidad and Tobago has produced 2 Miss Universe winners, a rare achievement for any country, let alone one with fewer than 2 million people. It's a small reminder that this island's grace extends beyond landscapes. It lives in its people too. Geologically, the islands are fascinating. Though they have no active volcanoes, they sit right where the Caribbean and South American tectonic plates meet. That's why tremors occasionally ripple through the land. A constant whisper from the planet reminding everyone that these islands were forged by fire and pressure. One of the most mesmerizing sights in all the Caribbean unfolds in Trinidad's Colonial swamp at sunset. Picture this: flocks of scarlet ibis, the national bird, soaring across the sky, their crimson feathers turning the horizon into a canvas of fire. As daylight fades, the swamp glows in red and gold, a breathtaking natural performance that never gets old. And just when you think nature couldn't get any more magical, you arrive at Tobago's Nylon Pool, a shallow lagoon in the middle of the ocean, so clear and calm you can stand waist-deep in its turquoise water. Locals swear that a swim here will make you look 10 years younger, and though it sounds like myth, the serenity of the place makes you want to believe. For decades, Trinidad also housed one of the world's largest oil refineries, the Point-de-Pierre refinery, which produced thousands of barrels per day. Though it shut down in 2018, its legacy lives on, marking a time when this small island stood at the heart of global energy supply. The symbol of the land, however, remains the hummingbird, of which Trinidad hosts over 18 dazzling species. So many, in fact, that it's known as the land of the hummingbird. These tiny creatures flit through gardens like living jewels, darting and shimmering in the tropical light. Nature even times its celebrations with the nation's own. Every year, on August 31st, Independence Day, the national flower, the Chaconia, bursts into bloom. Its fiery red petals are a reminder that freedom, like nature, requires resilience and renewal. In Tobago, geography writes poetry. It's one of the few places in the world where you can gaze at both the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean within just a few miles. To the west, calm turquoise waves lap gently its sandy shores. To the east, the Atlantic roars against rugged cliffs. It's like watching 2 personalities of the same island face each other across the land. Back in Trinidad, the pitch lake continues to astonish visitors. It's thick enough to swallow trees and objects, yet somehow stable enough for people to walk on safely. Standing there, you feel the earth breathing beneath your feet, ancient, warm, and alive. But perhaps what defines Trinidad and Tobago most is its mind, a nation with one of the world's highest literacy rates, reaching over 98%. Knowledge flows here as freely as its rivers, shaping a society that values education as deeply as it values rhythm and art. And if you're looking for breathtaking heights, you'll find them at El Cerro del Aripo, Trinidad's tallest peak. Often shrouded in mist, it rises nearly 1,000 meters above sea level. From its summit, you can see dense forests roll toward the horizon, a view that captures the quiet majesty of these islands. During World War II, Trinidad played a crucial role as a U.S. military outpost. American forces built bases, runways, and roads here to defend shipping routes from German submarines. Remnants of those fortifications still dot the landscape, silent witnesses to a time when this tropical paradise was a battleground of strategy and survival. The scarlet ibis, that glowing red wonder of nature, is so cherished that it appears on the nation's coat of arms and even on its money. It's not just a bird. It's a living emblem of pride and perseverance. Meanwhile, Tobago's Baku Reef remains one of the most accessible and spectacular coral reefs in the world. Glass-bottom boats allow you to gaze into its kaleidoscope of colors without even diving in. Every hue of coral and fish dances beneath you like an underwater carnival. Even the name Trinidad carries sacred origins. Christopher Columbus gave it in 1498, calling it La Trinidad, the Trinity, after the three mountain peaks he saw rising from the horizon. Tobago's name, meanwhile, is believed to come from the Spanish word tabaco, inspired by the early indigenous people's rolled leaves, the origin of the word tobacco. Together, their names capture faith, nature, and humanity's long story of exploration. And right in the capital, Port of Spain, lies an odd record holder, the Queen's Park Savannah. It's the largest roundabout in the world. Yes, an actual traffic circle so vast that it takes minutes to drive around. Once a colonial sugar estate, it's now a sprawling green heart where locals jog, fly kites, or gather for Carnival. But let's pause to talk about food, because in Trinidad and Tobago, cuisine isn't just sustenance, it's a language of identity. Thanks to its Indian, African, Chinese, and Creole influences, the country has built one of the richest culinary traditions in the Caribbean. People here eat more curry per capita than almost anywhere outside India. Roti, doubles, curried crab. Every bite tells a story of migration, fusion, and flavor. Then comes the night, and with it, the magic of light. On certain beaches in Tobago, the ocean itself begins to glow. Microscopic plankton, known as dinoflagellates, shimmer when disturbed, turning the waves into liquid blue fire. Locals call these places bioluminescent bays, and swimming through one feels like drifting through the Milky Way. The Coroni Swamp, once a vast sugar plantation, is another symbol of rebirth. After years of human exploitation, it's now a protected wetland teeming with life. Herons, caimans, mangroves, and of course, those radiant scarlet ibises. Nature, once wounded, has reclaimed its throne. And as if that weren't enough, these twin islands are a paradise for birdwatchers. Over 400 species call this place home, an astonishing number for a country so small. Travelers from around the world come here to witness rare colors and melodies found nowhere else on Earth. Even the asphalt lake, bizarre as it seems, has been a source of scientific wonder. Constantly replenished from below by oil-rich deposits, it never dries up. Its depths hold microbes so ancient that scientists compare them to forms of life that might exist on other planets. And when the world faced an energy crisis in the 2020s, Trinidad and Tobago quietly became one of the top exporters of liquefied natural gas to Europe. From a distance, it may look like a small island nation, but in the global energy market, it's a giant with a steady hand on the valve. Every October in Tobago, locals celebrate a festival like no other, the Blue Food Festival. It honors a root vegetable called dasheen that turns a brilliant purple when cooked. From soups to desserts, it transforms into dishes as colorful as the island's spirit itself. Trinidad and Tobago isn't just diverse in nature, it's diverse in soul. Mosques, temples, and churches stand side by side, reflecting centuries of coexistence between people of different faiths. You can hear church bells, Hindu chants, and the call to prayer all within the same hour, and no one bats an eye. It's a nation that embodies peace not by uniformity, but by harmony. And one of its most inspiring landmarks rises straight from the ocean, the temple in the sea, built entirely by hand by an Indian laborer named Sudas Sadhu, who refused to give up his dream of worshiping freely. He carried materials across the water, stone by stone, for years. Today, the temple stands as a monument to devotion, perseverance, and faith stronger than the tides. We'll stop here for now, but that's only half of Trinidad and Tobago's unbelievable story. In Part 2, we'll journey through pirate forts, glowing reefs, record-breaking monuments, and the hidden meanings behind some of the Caribbean's most iconic traditions. The best is yet to come. If Part 1 revealed the magic, mystery, and rhythm of Trinidad and Tobago, then Part 2 dives even deeper into the history, innovation, and spirit that make these islands unlike anywhere else on Earth. Because behind every glowing bay, every steel pan melody, and every scarlet ibis flight lies a story that connects people, nature, and destiny. Let's continue the journey. Standing proudly above the sea in Tobago is Fort King George, a living relic of the colonial past. Built in the 18th century, it once guarded the island from European invaders, French, Dutch, and British forces that fought endlessly over this little piece of paradise. Walking through its stone corridors today, you can still see old cannons aimed at the horizon, silent witnesses to centuries of conflict. But there's something poetic about it. How this fort, once a symbol of division, now overlooks a nation united in independence and identity. And then there's something sweeter, quite literally. Trinidad once produced some of the finest cocoa in the world, known as Trinitario cocoa. This hybrid bean became so famous that it's still used by luxury chocolate brands across Europe and Japan. To this day, the aroma of freshly roasted cocoa beans wafts through Trinidad's countryside, a reminder of the island's long, delicious connection to global trade. It's more than chocolate. It's a symbol of how something small and local can shape tastes across the planet. Even the names of these islands tell stories. Historians believe Tobago's name comes from the Spanish word tabaco, inspired by the tobacco rolls used by early indigenous peoples. Those same leaves would later fuel one of the biggest industries in the New World. Trinidad's name, on the other hand, came from La Trinidad, meaning the Trinity, a tribute to the three mountain peaks Columbus saw upon arrival. Together, these names unite spirituality and nature, faith and discovery, in a way that feels almost fated. One of the most mind-blowing things about Trinidad and Tobago is how much the landscape changes in such a short distance. In a single day, you can travel from misty rainforest to golden savanna, from coral reef to mangrove swamp, all within 100 kilometers. No other Caribbean nation packs so much ecological diversity in so small an area. For travelers, it's like stepping into 5 countries at once. For photographers, it's paradise on fast forward. Every turn of the road revealing a new postcard view. And speaking of landscapes, Trinidad's mangrove mazes are like nature's cathedrals. Imagine gliding through dark green tunnels of tangled roots, where the water reflects like glass and herons dart through shafts of light. These waterways are so complex that only experienced boat captains can navigate them, reading the rhythm of the tides like music. It's one of those experiences that feels less like sightseeing and more like discovering a secret world. But beyond nature's wonders lies something equally powerful: industry. The Point Leases Industrial Estate in Trinidad stands as the largest industrial port in the Caribbean, surpassing even those in Jamaica and the Bahamas. It's a hub of steel, methanol, and chemical production, connected directly to global shipping routes. When people imagine Caribbean nations, they think of beaches and tourism. But here, in Point Leases, you see another truth: that progress and paradise can coexist. And that balance between beauty and hard work, culture and commerce, is captured perfectly in Trinidad and Tobago's national motto: "Together we aspire, together we achieve." It's more than a slogan, it's a philosophy. The islands are a living proof that diversity doesn't divide, it multiplies strength. Every race, every religion, every tradition has built something in common, a nation proud of who it is, yet open to the world. Music is at the center of that identity. The global genres calypso and soca were born right here. Calypso began as the voice of the people, a clever, lyrical way for enslaved Africans to tell stories, share news, and criticize colonial rule when open speech was forbidden. Soca, which emerged later, fused soul, funk, and African beats into a high-energy celebration of life. Today, these rhythms ripple far beyond the Caribbean, in pop, hip-hop, electronic, and even film soundtracks. Trinidad's Carnival may last just a few days, but its musical heartbeat echoes across the world all year long. The story of progress continues in the unlikeliest of places, the highways. During World War II, the United States built Trinidad's first modern road system. These highways connected air bases, ports, and oil fields, infrastructure designed to protect against German submarines that threaten Caribbean shipping routes. Decades later, those same roads still carry school buses, taxis, and carnival trucks. It's a reminder of how the past quietly supports the present. Tobago, shaped like a sleeping fish, carries a different rhythm. Locals often say the island never sleeps, not because it's restless, but because it's alive, surrounded by constant waves, trade winds, and the hum of sea life. Fishermen rise before dawn to follow the tides, while families gather at twilight to watch the sun sink behind the horizon. Nature here isn't just scenery, it's a companion, breathing in sync with the people. Economically, Trinidad and Tobago stand tall among small nations. With one of the highest GDPs per capita in Latin America and the Caribbean, the country punches far above its weight. Its wealth flows mainly from oil and liquefied natural gas exports, but also from a robust manufacturing and financial sector. Offshore oil fields, deep-water ports, and fertile land form the foundation of its success. It's a rare example of a developing nation that used its geography strategically, turning natural blessings into national power. Even nature seems to reward the island's balance. Unlike many Caribbean neighbors, Trinidad and Tobago are rarely struck by hurricanes. Their southern position, just below the main hurricane belt, spares them from the most violent storms. While other islands brace for impact each year, Trinidadians and Tobagonians often remain safe, a small but invaluable geographic advantage that protects homes, farms, and lives. And while modern innovation continues, history still finds its voice here. In 1962, the same year Trinidad and Tobago gained independence, it launched TTT, Trinidad and Tobago Television, the first national TV station in the Caribbean. Before social media, before cable networks, this was how the islands connected, through local storytelling, cultural programming, and news that reflected their own voices. For the first time, the Caribbean was seeing itself on screen, proud and unfiltered. But perhaps what makes this nation truly unique is how the land itself tells stories of evolution. Millions of years ago, these islands were part of South America's continental shelf. That's why Trinidad still hosts anteaters, armadillos, and caimans, animals you'd expect to find deep in the Amazon. It's an ecological bridge between two worlds where South American wildlife mingles with Caribbean coral and mangrove species. Nowhere else on Earth does that blend exist. Tobago's main ridge forest reserve, often called the lungs of the Caribbean, continues to awe scientists and nature lovers alike. Protected since 1776, it produces oxygen, regulates rainfall, and shelters countless plants and animals. Walking through it, you feel an almost sacred silence, broken only by the call of tropical birds and the rustle of giant ferns. Every misty morning in that forest feels like the world starting over. Then there's one of Trinidad's most iconic cultural exports, the limbo dance. Though today it's performed at parties and competitions worldwide, it began as something much deeper. Enslaved Africans created it as a ritual of survival, bending low under a bar to symbolize resilience and rebirth. Over time, what began as a test of endurance became a celebration of spirit. Every time a dancer passes under the bar, the crowd cheers, not just for agility, but for the enduring message. No matter how low life forces you to bend, you rise again. All of this, from the energy plants and ancient forests to the music, the food, and the faith, makes one thing clear. Trinidad and Tobago isn't just another Caribbean country. It's a story in motion, a living experiment in diversity, strength, and imagination. The Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean lap at its shores, but the heart of these islands beats far beyond geography. Here, African, Indian, Chinese, European, and indigenous heritages blend not into conflict, but into culture. A Trinidadian wedding might include Hindu rituals, African drums, and Western vows, all celebrated together. A street corner might host a mosque beside a church, beside a temple, and no one sees contradiction in it. It's what harmony looks like when it's lived, not just preached. And when night falls, the islands light up again, not just with neon or festival lights, but with bioluminescent waters, glowing plankton, and fireflies weaving constellations through the dark. The ocean gleams, the forests breathe, and the hum of calypso drifts on the wind. It's a sensory symphony that no photograph or travel brochure can capture. Only experience can. For a country so small, Trinidad and Tobago has influenced the world in extraordinary ways. Its athletes have dominated Olympic sprints. Its artists have topped global music charts. Its engineers have contributed to energy infrastructure far beyond the Caribbean. And through it all, its people carry the same warm humor and resilience, a quiet confidence that says, we may be small, but we're mighty. Perhaps that's why, even after exploring its wonders, the islands still feel underrated, one of Earth's best-kept secrets. Tourists may rush to larger destinations, but those who find their way here discover something different: authenticity. It's not about luxury resorts or crowded ports. It's about rainforests older than nations, traditions deeper than textbooks, and a kind of joy that doesn't need to be invented. It just exists. The true beauty of Trinidad and Tobago lies in its contradictions. It's industrial, yet untouched. Small, yet powerful. Modern, yet ancient. It's a nation where you can discuss global energy policy over breakfast and swim in a coral lagoon by afternoon. Where carnival dancers parade past skyscrapers and steel drums echo through mangrove swamps. Where progress and paradise aren't opposites, they're partners. So when people ask, what makes Trinidad and Tobago special? The answer is simple: everything. From the pitch lake that bubbles like the Earth's heartbeat, to the scarlet skies of Colonial, to the steel pans that turned oil drums into art, every inch of these islands tells a story of creation, resilience, and pride. And that's the truth behind the 50 wild facts. They aren't legends or exaggerations. They're proof that reality, when it comes to these islands, doesn't need fiction to be incredible. So, the next time someone mentions Trinidad and Tobago, don't just think beaches. Think of innovation and independence. Think of people who turned struggle into song and land into legacy. Think of a country that defies every stereotype and still invites the world to dance, learn, and believe. Because in the end, Trinidad and Tobago isn't just a destination. It's a living story of the impossible made real, where lakes are made of pitch, seas glow blue, and the air hums with the rhythm of survival and joy. And maybe that's the greatest fact of all. If you loved exploring this incredible journey through one of the Caribbean's most extraordinary nations, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more stories that reveal the world's hidden wonders, and share this video with someone who needs to see the magic behind a map. Because Trinidad and Tobago, these islands of miracles, are proof that sometimes the smallest places hold the biggest secrets.